Unicast is brought to you by SUMA, the voice of Saskatchewan's urban municipalities. SUMA is proud to represent the urban communities that over 80% of Saskatchewan residents call home. Unicast discusses issues related to local governance and municipal leadership like best practices, education, reconciliation, resources, and more. In Season 8, we're focusing on SUMA's key advocacy initiatives. Saskatchewan's urban municipalities are dealing with evolving environmental regulations, which makes collaborative waste management essential for long-term sustainability. Effective waste management reduces greenhouse gas emissions, extends landfill lifespans, and helps municipalities remain environmentally responsible. By working together, communities can share costs, access funding, and implement innovative waste diversion strategies. In this episode, Michelle Heggstrom, Manager of Compliance Assurance for the North Central Region with the Ministry of Environment, Pamela Berry, Senior Policy Analyst and Research Officer for the Waste Stewardship and Recycling with the Ministry of Environment, Joan Fedek, Executive Director of the Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council, Anne Mathewson, Executive Director of the Association of Regional Waste Management Authorities of Saskatchewan, and Richard Beck, TSS Coordinator with SUMA, sit down with Augustina Osaseri, Advocacy Advisor with SUMA, to discuss how collaboration can support sustainable waste management. Michelle Heggstrom and Pamela Berry join on behalf of the Ministry of Environment. The ministry provides science-based solutions, compliance and mitigation measures aimed at protecting the environment and safeguarding communities, helping to ensure balance and economic growth and a better quality of life for all Saskatchewan residents. Joan Fedek has been the Executive Director of the Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council since 1991. In that role, she has worked to expand waste diversion programs. The SWRC hosts events that bring together municipalities and other waste reduction professionals to interact and to find out about the latest developments. Anne Mathewson is the Executive Director for the Association of Regional Waste Management Authorities of Saskatchewan and is recognized as one of Canada's leading waste management specialists with over 40 years of experience. She has held positions in both private and public sector recycling, commercial waste management, and the packaging industry. Richard Beck joins on behalf of the Targeted Sector Support Initiative. The Targeted Sector Support Initiative uses a portion of the municipal revenue sharing to support projects that strengthen municipalities' core operational capabilities through increased regional cooperation. Projects under this program are intended to assist in supporting more efficient and effective municipal service delivery and enhance governance and administrative capacity in Saskatchewan. Conducting today's interview is Augustina Osaseri, Advocacy Advisor with SUMA, where she advocates for members on environmental sustainability and supporting various related initiatives.
Welcome, Michelle, Pamela, Joanne, Anne, and Richard. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today. Saskatchewan urban municipalities face increasing landfill pressure, rising waste management costs, and evolving environmental regulations, which makes collaborative waste management essential for a long-term sustainability. By working together, communities can share costs, access funding, and implement innovative waste diversion strategies such as recycling, composting, and circular economy initiatives. Effective waste management reduces greenhouse gas emissions, extends landfill lifespan, and aligns with provincial sustainability goals, which help municipalities remain environmentally responsible and economically viable. So Pamela and Michelle, I have a question for you here. What are the provincial government's priorities and strategies to support municipalities in reducing landfill pressure and advancing sustainable waste management practices?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Augustina. I can start for us. So the first thing that comes to mind is our provincial solid waste management strategy. That's the roadmap that we use to guide how we reduce and manage solid waste that's going to landfills. Strategy was designed to address ongoing challenges of waste management, which includes those we heard from municipalities and the residents that you serve, to reduce waste going to landfill and therefore reduce landfill pressure, The strategy is prioritizing waste diversion, and this includes through development of new stewardship programs, but also through review of existing stewardship programs. During reviews, we're looking to identify opportunities to include additional products for diversion. The strategy is also focusing on enhancing communication with our partners like SWMA, as well as the citizens of Saskatchewan, to look for opportunities to share information and collaborate on waste management best practices. Michelle, do you have anything to add to that?
I do. Thanks, Pam. And yeah, thanks for having us here. To add on to that development of the strategy piece, we had heard from that during that time, the modernizing the rules and regulations for landfill management was a key thing, as well as ensuring the consistent enforcement of those. So as a province, we've been working collaboratively with municipalities to ensure their needs are reflected in the new results-based Made in Saskatchewan regulations for waste management. And the ministry continues to address concerns about disposal of inert waste and costs associated with groundwater monitoring by working with municipalities on their site-specific needs.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Pam. I have one follow-up question. I like that the province already has a strategy to help municipalities in reducing landfill pressure. Are there funding opportunities or regulatory changes that municipalities should be aware of?
The ministry is always advocating for opportunities for funding. In the past, over $78 million in federal and provincial funding was provided under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program for the closure or decommissioning of unsustainable landfills, as well as diversion opportunities. So while that funding has yet to be renewed, the ministry continues to encourage provincial involvement in those types of programs. Another one, the Government of Canada has announced a new Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund to support infrastructure projects that will boost housing supply. So that can include landfill development if that's something that can support that. The Transfer Station Code chapter has been enacted for almost 2 years. So there'll be some minor changes to the guidance documents. We've heard some feedback on the guidance. So to better support municipalities, we'll be making some changes to that. And we're going to translate that learning into the Compost Code chapter, which is in its final stages of development. So it's getting close to being something that will be enacted as well for municipalities, as well as other composting facilities. And the other regulatory changes for landfills that are under development and engagement will be happening this fall. So we will be looking at modernizing those, as I mentioned earlier. So it'll be the regulations and some standards that will come out for landfill management.
Thank you so much. We look forward to the engagement.
You bet. And I think, Pam, do you have something to add with regards to waste diversion?
I just wanted to jump in and talk about funding opportunities for waste diversion. I encourage everyone to connect with the waste stewardship programs themselves. There's lots of opportunities for municipalities to participate. Some municipalities are already collection points for programs such as electronics and grain bags.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Joan, I have a question for you. What role does Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council play in supporting municipalities and communities to adopt sustainable waste management practices?
Thanks, Augustina. Waste Reduction Council provides information on what other communities in the province and across the country are doing. So we try and connect municipalities to each other. We bring them together at our events to share experiences so they can learn from each other and learn what's new. We do support extended producer responsibility programs like the ones that the province already has for electronics, paint, used oil, those things. These programs shift the responsibility for end of life of their products away from municipalities and their landfills and onto the companies that produce the products in the first place. So to us, that seems like a municipal service because we're basically taking things off of municipal shoulders and putting the responsibility where it belongs. So we support the province's work in that. We also have, as an organization, we have a database that residents can use to choose whatever community in the province and whatever product they're interested in and find all the options that there are for reusing, repairing, and recycling those things. So that's a service that I think municipalities can point their citizens to, and it's a benefit to the municipalities. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. And I know that Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council has a lot of resources. So how can municipalities make the most of the resources and the expertise that Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council offers to achieve their waste reduction goals?
Okay, so this is going to sound a little self-serving, Augustina, but this is the answer I have. They can send people to our events. They're great networking opportunities and places to learn and adopt new practices. They can promote our waste reduction hub, the database I was talking about before, to their residents, because we also not only include the ones that the municipalities have themselves, but also everything else in the community. So it gives the citizens places to take things that won't end up in your landfill. We do, as you mentioned, we have a lot of resources, and one of the areas we have quite a lot on is backyard composting. So for communities that don't have curbside green cart programs or aren't interested in going that direction, certainly getting people to compost on their own is a valuable thing for municipalities to look at. And we have a lot of information that's free on our website on how people can get started on backyard composting. And finally, make sure you're a member of the Waste Reduction Council. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Joanne. And I'm here for you. So, regional collaboration is key to addressing waste challenges. Can you share examples of successful partnerships among municipalities that Association of Regional Waste Management Authorities of Saskatchewan has supported?
I sure can, and thanks for the question. I think it's important to realize that even before ARWMAS was created, back in the 90s, there were quite a few municipalities who had already understood the value in banding together to offer recycling and waste management services to their constituents. So we already started out with 6 of those in 2004. So what's really important is that the municipalities realized that if they were to try to implement these programs on their own, it was going to be a very expensive proposition. And so they touched base with their neighbors because they all needed to either site a new landfill, offer a program for recycling, and banded together to do that so that the efficiencies were there and the economics were there in being able to share in putting together those programs and offering them to their constituents. And so the bigger ticket item, of course, is landfills. And that, in a lot of cases, is what motivates people to do that. Fortunately, our membership includes all of the stewardship agencies, haulers, as well as engineering firms. And so a lot of the times the engineering firms will be out there speaking to their clients about landfill development or wastewater treatment facilities, and they're seeing municipalities starting to talk to each other. So they'll offer us or come to us to ask us if we would like to get involved, to be able to speak to them about waste solutions that they could also address on a regional basis.
Thank you so much, Anne. And I know that most of the time when we have our convention, we hear a lot about the opportunity to collaborate. And I also know that with collaboration comes some challenges, some barriers. So what are the biggest barriers to collaboration and how can they be overcome from your own view?
You know, it's interesting that money isn't always the driver to convince people to work together. And there's, often, power struggles. There's history. A hockey tournament that didn't go well that will affect whether somebody will talk to somebody else, or an RM that may have a different perspective than a village. But we find that a lot of the times it's knowledge. It's understanding what challenges they're facing and then having someone there to walk them through the best way to address that and to a lot of the times get down to the dollars and cents, but it's important that we keep the lines of communication open so that we can, in fact, address whatever issues may be there that can be resolved and try to bring people together.
Thank you so much, Anne. Richard, I know you are a boss in targeted sector support, so I have a small question for you. How can the Targeted Sector Support Initiative help municipalities collaborate on waste management projects and reduce landfill pressure? And just talked about collaboration and the challenges. So from your own viewpoint, how do you think the TSS can help municipalities collaborate on waste management projects?
Thank you for the question. Certainly collaboration is absolutely necessary for the Targeted Sector Support Fund to be utilized. It is a fund that can be accessed to help municipalities fully understand the issues around their landfills or waste diversion programs. It can help identify obstacles, barriers, and any other opportunities around collections and implement or study any regulatory changes that would be out there. So anything to do with those landfill issues and supply chain issues, the targeted sector support, can certainly be helpful to municipalities and really help out with the partnership and certainly look and understand all of the assets and processes around landfill issues.
Thank you so much, Richard. Can you share an example of a successful project funded by the targeted sector support and the lessons learned?
Well, one thing I will say is that the targeted sector support, while it's a relatively new fund out there, I think it's not well understood by municipalities and CAOs around the province. So this is a fund that is basically funded through the municipal revenue sharing between the provincial government down to municipalities. So it's basically money that is set aside for municipalities that are working together to solve issues and problems around the province. So it's very specific in terms of dealing with core issues and problems, and it can only be accessed by Saskatchewan municipalities. It's a very good fit for the issues that we're talking about in terms of landfills, any kind of diversion, let's say opportunities out there, any supply chain. No municipality has actually implemented or submitted an application that has been solely focused on landfills or those diversion processes. So this is a opportunity, certainly for municipalities to work together to access that fund. But some of the program or some of the applications that have come in, we have seen environmental site assessments. Like that would be a very viable, let's say, opportunity. Anything to look at, like the life cycle or asset management of the landfill. Anything to look at the best practices around collection processes. Perhaps studying of new technology and uses there. So, so there's a tremendous amount of opportunity that really hasn't been utilized.
From the smallest villages to the largest cities, every day your urban municipality supports you. The water that travels from tap to sewer, the emergency services that keep you safe, the parks, libraries, and rinks that you enjoy, our cities, towns, villages, resort villages, and northern municipalities are urban hubs bringing people together. We are urban. Celebrate your municipality as part of the urban family.
Thank you so much, Richard. And I have a question for you here. So what do you see as the biggest opportunity for municipalities to reduce landfill pressure and advance sustainability over the next 5 years?
Well, I can be really self-serving on this one too, as Joanne was stating earlier. Regionalization is probably one of the greatest opportunities because it does help people to reduce costs, provide very efficient programs, and offer that sustainability over the long haul. Participating in diversion programs. And I think we mentioned earlier, being a collector for waste electronics or grain bags, to take, once again, those pressures off the landfill and make sure that materials and tires are all being diverted in the right direction. So I think, those are the two biggest ones. One of the things that we pride ourselves on at ARWMAS is networking, collaboration. And so sharing of best practices is critical if people are going to be able to cite their landfill to the most modern standards, to be able to offer programs that are really effective for the size of their municipality. All of those opportunities exist, and we just need people to jump on the bandwagon and take advantage of them.
Thank you so much. John, what do you think in terms of the biggest opportunity for municipalities to reduce their landfill pressure in the next over the next 5 years?
I think things are moving in the right direction, and I sort of looked at this question as what's the next part of the waste stream that we want to tackle. So I would say that the biggest opportunities are in the non-residential generated waste and in organics. So in organics, food waste, yard waste, and all of that makes up half of residential waste, and they cause a lot of problems in landfills and for the planet in general because they produce methane. So I think that if communities can start looking at ways they can keep those out of the landfill, that'll have a big impact. And the other one is the non-residential sector. So a lot of landfills, typical municipal landfills, are 2/3 of non-residential waste. So let's look at what the businesses are producing and putting in there, how much of it is easily diverted, how much of it can be diverted if we try and find a few tweaks and find another place that makes more sense to reuse and that kind of thing. So those are the two spots, I would say, non-residential waste and organics.
I can jump in here.
Okay.
I have an answer. Well, actually, it's Anne's answer and a bit of Joanne's. So, yeah, we completely agree that the solid waste management strategy encourages regional collaboration to enhance that cost effectiveness and efficiency of waste management. So that's huge. Really encouraging that. Regional collaboration can help to divert waste from landfills through coming together to offer regulated recycling programs or composting programs for food waste. So touching on what Joanne said. Additionally, gathering waste at a centralized transfer station or other waste facility can help generate sufficient volume to have collection occur more frequently. So those are some things that, like, if we can get that rolling, the ministry really encourages, looking at both the regionalization and, diversion, specifically even compost with the new chapter coming out.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Richard, what about you? Any opportunity? Do you see any opportunity for municipalities to reduce their landfill pressure in the next 5 years?
I'm going to back up what has already been said, and that is the collaboration and regionalization. That's a very very important aspect in terms of tackling any issues and problems that you have coming forward on the landfill files. And I suppose from the targeted sector support, I guess we offer a mechanism in terms of trying to get that professional support to certainly have CAOs and municipalities and so the elected officials out there to know that you're not in this alone. There are resources and there are opportunities out there for you to access. You'll have really good information to make the best decisions possible for your municipality and for your region.
Thank you so much. That's so true. So, Joanne, let me ask you this. How can organizations like yours work more collaboratively with municipalities to create impactful and scalable waste management solutions?
I think what we have to do is trying to communicate more with municipalities so that we can understand municipal priorities and how they are the same or different from ours and what their individual situations are like. Because in the calls I've been making in the last while, it's like a lot of things, you talk to municipalities, a lot of situations are similar, but every community has something that they're dealing with that no one else is. So we need to be able to understand that. And for municipalities, it would be great if they reach out to us when they have issues of concern so we can see if we can help or if there's other communities around that might have something similar.
Michelle or Pamela, how do you think the ministry can actually work more collaboratively with municipalities to create impactful and scalable waste management solutions?
Thank you, Augustina. I can take this one. So we're going to sound a little bit like a broken record, but collaboration on regional waste management opportunities, where that makes sense, is going to be key to ensuring impactful and scalable waste management solutions. I'll also highlight that as part of our strategy's communication plan, Recycle Saskatchewan is collaborating with us and other stakeholders, and we're looking to create an information resource for municipalities. Toolkit's going to be providing information on recycling, landfills, transfer stations, and other things. It's our hope that this is not going to be only a great resource of information, but also a way that we can connect with municipalities.
Thank you so much, Pamela. And I think this is a question I'd like to ask each and every one of you. And that's around a piece of advice that you have for our municipalities. So if you had one key piece of advice for Saskatchewan municipalities that are looking to take the next step in their waste management, what would that be, Anne?
One of the things that we've noticed is that a lot of municipalities don't know what's coming down the pipe. And, when we talk to them about the extended producer responsibility program, a lot of the times we get a deer in the headlights look and they don't really know what to be prepared for. So educating oneself is really important. If you hear a rumor about something, follow it up. Contact SUMA, find out what it is that's going on, or call ARWMAS and find out, because it's really important that they're in the loop and then nobody is blindsided. So educating oneself is huge. And the second one I want to throw in there is talk to communities that are successful. And so if you have noticed that the neighbor down the road seems to have it together, then talk to them. They've been there, they've done it. Let's have that communication, that collaboration going so that there are more success stories out there and people are getting things done as they should.
Richard, do you have any advice?
Yeah, certainly for municipalities, knowing what your problem is, being able to articulate your issue, to go out and find any professional, like whether it's engineer or project management or consultant to help provide solutions for your project, and simply apply for the targeted sector support funding. It's certainly an opportunity there that that can certainly pass by without being let's say really understood by municipalities. Just try and collect those resources and submit your application for the targeted sector support.
And any advice from the ministry?
I would say follow the waste hierarchy. Focus on how your municipality can emphasize material reduction and reuse materials. After that, look for opportunities to enhance recycling and composting access. The more waste we can eliminate or divert, the less pressure your landfills are going to face.
So true. Thank you so much. And Joanne, do you have anything to add? Or have they said it all?
There's always things. So I think if communities have ways that they can divert materials, I like to concentrate on how can we make sure that people, whoever they are using the programs the way they need to be used. And so one piece of advice I would say in there is that when you're designing a program or trying to figure out how to get people to do what you want, try and figure out ways to make it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. Because if you give people a path and it's easy, they'll walk down it. If the bad way to do things is easier, well, we're human, that's what we do. So try and think about it from that lens of how can I make sure that this is the simplest and easiest for people to do, and it's also the right thing for them to do.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today to discuss collaborative ways to support waste management reduction.
This brings us to the end of another episode of Municast. Thank you for listening in. In our next episode, SWRC's Advocacy Advisor Carrie Martin will be sitting down with the University of Regina and the Canadian Mental Health Association. This episode, Accessing Health Services in Saskatchewan, will be released on May 21st. Is your municipality a SWRC member? Did you know elected officials and staff have access to resources, meeting and webinar recordings, templates, and more through the member portal? Each member municipality has one shared login to the portal. Chat with your administrator or contact the SWRC office for more information.